What is pantheism? The term pantheism comes from the two Greek words, pan, which means all, of everything, and theos, which means God, or divine. Pantheism, therefore, literally means, all is God, or all is divine, or everything is God. Formally defined, pantheism is a view of reality that tends to identify the world with God, or God with the world. It is important to note that pantheism is not so much a doctrine, as it is the implication of views expressed in terms of the world, God, the absolute, or infinity. It generally emphasizes the immanence of God in the world and de-emphasizes, or ignores, his transcendence over the world. However, since no one has as yet failed to make some distinction between transcendent and immanent aspects of infinite being, there never has been a complete and utter pantheism. It is also important to note that the scholastics tend to reduce pantheism to a form of atheism on the ground that identification of God with the world implies the denial of him as transcendent and really distinct from the world, a view fundamental to all forms of theism. However, the majority of those who are labeled pantheists manifest a strong religious commitment to God in one way or another. In fact, many of them are properly classified as religious thinkers. Again, views of reality termed pantheistic usually embody some limitation that effectively negates complete identification between God and the world. One such limitation now identifies itself as panentheism and claims many earlier thinkers as proponents. Beyond this, a more general element of restriction is found in monism, which distinguishes between absolute and finite being, but reduces one to an illusion or appearance of the other. Interpretations of such reductions, of course, differ widely. Origins in the East. Throughout ancient Indian philosophy, with its direction toward self, themes occur that are clearly pantheistic. The general current of Vedic literature conveys the notion of a purely immanent deity, Purusa, frequently described as the whole of reality. In the Upanishads, the notions of Brahman and Atman are proposed as manifestations of the Absolute, Brahma being the objective evolutionary manifestation, and Atman the conscious, or subjective manifestation. In idealistic interpretations of Upanishadic literature, the world is appearance or illusion. In materialistic interpretations, the world is the reality, deity is impersonal, mythical, a manifestation of the world. In ancient Chinese thought, Taoism, especially in doctrines of Lao Tzu, reflects a certain pantheism in that the Tao is said to have produced all things out of itself. Greek and Roman thought. Among the ancient Greeks, Xenophanes denounced the polytheism of his day, but made God the totality of being. Parmenides extended this pantheism to an extreme monism expressed in terms of being and paralleling some of the ancient Hindu notions of the absolute. This doctrine of Parmenides was developed by Melissus to include the notion of infinity. For these monists, changing reality was an illusion, much as it was for the idealistic interpreters of the Upanishads. On the other hand, Heraclitus offered a monism in which permanence was the illusion and change the only reality. He called his primal fire Zeus, Logos, or deity, and developed a doctrine similar to the almost contemporary Buddhist theory of momentariness. Both Platonism and Neoplatonism evidence tendencies toward pantheism that derive from foundations in Plato's thought. The relation between the doctrine of the One and that of ideas suggests a similarity to the Hindu doctrine of Maya, where the only reality is God and everything else is merely an appearance. Centuries later, Plotinus reinforced this Platonic implication of pantheism with his own doctrine of emanationism, which gave inspiration to many later pantheists.